Hey guys, it's John with CheatSheetPros. It's September 9th, and I had a few people ask me if I would post the NCAA football sports betting sheet again this year. So I spent the last couple of days when I had some time going through, plugging everything in, making sure the data pulls there. It's a sheet that's real easy for me to update, so I'll post it weekly. So I'm going to run over and just do a new tutorial real quick for 2021. I changed a few things on it, so it's going to be kind of fun to follow the games this week and see, kind of what's going on. It's real basic, so here's the sheet, and I've got a book over here. This is my bookie, just to pull up some lines and games and take a look at with you. So to change your teams, you have to click in this drop down. So when you click in these two teams, you're going to see they're all, I think I did alphabetically. Yeah, Air Force, Akron, Alabama. It's alphabetically. And you can also type in here. So you could type in like Ohio State. But if you type in, let's say, O State, it's going to give you an error if it doesn't pull it up. And then if it doesn't, then just pull it up, take a look at it. If you want to, enter the line down here. And it will give you some indicators down on this side. It'll say like basically what our two models are doing. And it's got some different little messages that pops up that's kind of fun. These are the power rankings. So basically how college lines are created, there's like an overall power rankings, and then the difference of those two power rankings gives you a ballpark of a projected line, and then each team has like 2, 3, 4, or 5 points home field advantage. You can add that in there. If you go in, like let's say Oregon, Ohio State, I think the line's 14.5. You can put that in, and then it will change the indicators down here. If you don't want to mess with that, you just want to see what the current line is, just leave it at 0, and it will show you what the projected line is for this game, the team's power rankings, how they're ranked. It may not be the national rank, but it's going to be pretty close to it. This is a quick breakdown over here. This is what I really like to dig into and look at. So you've got your offensive and defensive ranks, so you can see kind of how they match up against each other. So you got the 22nd offense versus the 14th D, second offense versus 27th D, and then you can see rush yards a game, pass yards a game, total yards a game, how they rank, and then rushing, how much they allow passing, the rank, and the total yards. Now, what's good about this is, like for example, last year I would see some team like a real powerful offensive team, but they can't run the ball. It's all passing yards, but they're going against like the number 3 pass defense. So if they get shut down, they're pretty much screwed. So those are some indicators to kind of look at. And as the season goes on, I'll do some videos and post some games. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. So when we get into some sports betting, I'll post the top 3, top 5 plays that are jumping out at me. Down here, these are just some general stats we have. So over here, we've got the record, points per game allowed. These are the two models that we're doing. So this is a rough projected score just using a yards per point calculation, which is what a lot of sports bettors do. And then we split it up and kind of tweak it a little bit. So it gives us kind of two models of where it should be. Now, keep in mind, there's only 1 week, and some teams that played last week are going to have no data because the smaller schools, they don't calculate the data because it's basically garbage. It's the slam dunk game where they rush for 500 yards. So if you pull a team in like tonight, Coastal Carolina, KU, we'll look at, it's not going to pull anything up. And then this is our rough projection model of what the teams are going to do, rushing, passing, and it's just, I can't remember the exact calculation. It's a rough average of like what they're doing, what the other team's allowing, and that should be exactly what it is. So they're doing 186, they're allowing 203, so 194 is in the middle. Passing 172, 205, 188's in the middle. So just like a rough average of the total yards, and then the basic yard per point and the upgraded yard per point will change once the season goes. Now keep in mind, they've only had 1 game, so these are going to be heavily skewed. So pay attention more to the power ranking for the first couple of weeks, and then just take this with a grain of salt. And then over here we have our success paths, and it just shows you the ranks rush versus rush D for both teams, pass versus pass D for both teams. I have a little difference indicator here that just generates some just quick notes. If you don't want to look at raw numbers, it tells you upgrades, downgrades, So it gives you a kind of an idea. And occasionally you'll see I've got another box that's hidden that's over here where we calculate some other numbers to kind of track and see, what's going on. So for example, let's look. The one game I like is Coastal Carolina, and Kansas. Coastal should roll them. So you've got 21 versus 127. The power ranking is going to say the line should be about 24. I think right now it's 25.5. And the line, you want it to be whatever the bottom team is. So they're the dogs, so it's plus 25.5. If it was favored, you'd be minus 25.5. And you can see that's going to be a difference of 49.5 points. Just realize, oh, I put it in wrong. It should be 25.5. So this line is pretty close. I'm still going to take Coastal tonight on September 9th. Just KU looked awful. And Coastal looks really good. But you can see there's no stats over here for them. So I was kind of confused by that because I was like, well, both teams have played. But when they play the smaller level schools, they don't count those stats. It's got to be the upper division. So when you see this NA, I'm going to go ahead and post it anyway. And again, you got your strength of schedule rating, win margin, last 3 games, their over-under record, and then what they're over-under by. So just gives you a little bit of an indicator, but let's take a look at a couple games for this weekend. I'll kind of show you how this works. So let's say Tulsa and Oklahoma State, and I haven't looked at any games yet, so I'm just kind of pulling stuff out of a hat. Oklahoma State. Okay, so both teams pulled through, and again, if it didn't, click this drop down and just go find them. So we got 50 versus 28. These are the 2 power rankings. So this is saying, let me take that back to 0. Oklahoma State should be minus 11.5. We'll say 11.5, 12, and they're 13. So that would slightly lean over here to Tulsa. But again, if it's that close, I'm not going to worry about it. Let's look at Florida, South Florida. We got Florida minus 28.5. So let's go Florida. And I don't know how South Florida is entered, so I'm going to go ahead and do the drop down over here. Southie Florida, where you at, baby? There it is. Oh, spelled out. South Florida, so they're 25.5. I think that's what we said. 28.5. All right, let's give them some more points. 28.5. Now you can see right here this indicator of 10.5. So we've got a projected line of Florida minus 39. So this is probably a game I'm going to look at betting. Florida, South Florida. Sorry, just making a note real quick. So since we have a significant difference, that's one that I'm going to take a look at. And again, it's only one game, but look at the offensive versus defensive ranks here. It's night and day. So I'm probably going to lay the points here or tease it. So let's take this back to 0. So Florida's one game I'm going to look into. And let's scroll down here. Let's find one more, and then we'll try to cut this video off under 10 minutes. Let's see, a lot of smaller schools. Air Force, Navy, Ball State, Penn, UAB, Georgia. Seriously? All right, let's look at that one. I'm just curious. So Georgia and then UAB. What in the world are they going to be listed under? I don't even know if I'm going to be able to find this one real quick. Oh, there it is. UAB. Simple enough. So Georgia's minus 24.5. It seems like this line is going to be... So it's pretty close. So we've got it at 27. It's actually 24.5. Georgia looked good last week. I mean, beast defense, offense. I don't know much about UAB, but it doesn't seem like this game's going to be close. So that's probably another one I'm going to look at. So Georgia, UAB. And these are just kind of indicators to see where the difference in the line is, so we can go through and look into these games a little bit more. A&M, Colorado, Iowa State minus 4. Let's look at that one real quick. That should be an easy one. Iowa State, and I think we said minus 4. Yep, minus 4. Okay, so we have a significant difference here. So Iowa State is minus 4, and we have that Iowa should be minus 4. So you can see the power ranking, Iowa's rated a little bit higher, so that's another game that I'm going to go through. And maybe if we're lucky, Kyle will go through and make a sheet of the difference of all the lines, and we can kind of track and see where we're at and how we're coming out. So that's basically how this sheet works. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's a lot of fun to play with, especially if you're die hard into college football and betting and whatnot. So I'm going to get it posted. It's the 9th. It's 9 a.m., about 9:20 a.m. So I'll have it up here in the next hour or two. I've got the sheet ready to go. I just got to upload it when I upload everything else today. So, all right, man, good luck, and we'll get another sheet out there for you. If you're new to us and you want to try our sheets, we post them for free every Thursday in our Facebook group. See the link in the description and subscribe to the channel so we can do some more daily fantasy sports, season long fantasy, and sports betting information for you. Thank you and have a good day.